All right, yes, so we're coming to the end of The Way of Abiding here by Longchen. We've been really connecting with that portion of the mandala through his teacher, Kumaraja, and Melung Dorje, and Rongjung Dorje de Karmapa, many others around the 1300s. So, must have been a heck of a time for Dharma around there. And I don't think I need to go into this text too much. Most of you are well aware that it's about the four great Dzogchen Samayas. And so we'll just close out here. We'll start to read. I don't know if we'll make it to the end, but we'll just jump right back into it, all right? So it says the Tantra of Adornment through direct introduction states, due to the nature of the Vajra, enlightened form, there is abiding in the realm that is unchanging and indestructible. Due to the nature of the lotus, enlightened speech, there is abiding in the quintessence that is unceasing, forever unceasing. Due to the nature of the wheel, enlightened mind, there is abiding in supreme, non-conceptual meditative stability. So there you have some twilight language that's being exposed for you, body, speech, and mind. So when you see the Vajra, the little dorje, it's called a dorje or it's called a Vajra. It goes with the bell, representing indestructibility, that is form, and then the lotus flower coming from the mud is speech, and the wheel is mind, the Dharma wheel. And you will see those iconography in a lot of places. The lotus flower, obviously, and the Dharma wheel. And so now you know what they stand for. And typically, when you see the Dharma wheel, it will have 8 spokes. Anybody know what those 8 spokes represent? Any guesses?
Is it the it's Eightfold Path?
Yes. Yeah, next time you see a Dharma wheel, check it out. There should be 8 spokes on there for the Eightfold Path. Nice job, Ty. So, yeah, we'll continue on here. It says the Tantra of the Supreme Secret, the enlightened mind of all Tathagatas, states the three kayas, utterly lucid emptiness, are not permanent, for they have no substance. They cannot be denied, for they embody utter lucidity. They are not separate, not divisible into outer or inner. The spacious kayas of unobstructed emptiness are the inseparability of appearance and emptiness, intangible. Enlightened form is without origination, transition, or change. Enlightened speech is unborn, ultimate speech, unspoken in words, yet clear in meaning, beyond any words that could describe or express it. Enlightened mind is awareness, pure like space. So there you have another tantra that's defining enlightened mind as awareness. So simple, many will not embrace it. It's too simple. As Naguma and Dojim Rinpoche, many have quoted that. It's so simple that many minds will not be able to embrace the simplicity and the accessibility. And they make it unobtainium, right? Everybody, we see that. In many Buddhist sanghas, enlightenment becomes this faraway dream or this faraway ideal, and people glamorize it and they put it on such a pedestal that it's out of reach for the average person. But you all know very well through the texts that we've explored and the inquiries and everything that you are Buddha. however you're looking, however you look right now, even if you had no arms or legs, uh, there's still Buddhahood there. And so this idea that we have to be a perfect Greek statue and have perfect equanimity and never say cuss words and only eat lotus petals, only pee in pure crystal glass, all this stuff. We really overly idealize enlightenment and put it out of reach. That's one thing. Since I was a kid, I was just a little sad about that. Why are they always talking about enlightenment, but they always talk about it like it's for somebody else? And if you read many texts, like Repeating the Words of the Buddha by Tulku Rinpoche, in the very first chapter, or I think it's the introduction, he says, enlightenment is not some fairy tale, it's not some ancient myth. It really does happen. And he says, I know many people that have reached the liberated state. Entire towns, villages in Tibet have been known. In fact, when I visited Scott's temple up there in Canada, uh, to me, that was the closest thing I've ever seen to a fully enlightened, awake Sangha. I mean, the energy was just so pleasant in there and safe and quiet and wise and compassionate. And they all were wearing white. So I don't know why that was happening, but I felt so much like I was in a different realm when I was up there. And it's such a sacred property, too. I think, Scott, you picked that out, didn't you? You were the one who picked that
Yeah,
out.
yeah. I was gonna say it was white because that was laundry day, but no, it's maybe not. But yeah, there's quite the origin story of locating that property through major synchronicity, let's put it that way. That'll take more time than we have today, but it's an interesting story how we ended up with, or rather, we ended up with our own mountain too, which was kind of cool. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, but maybe another day. But yeah, um, and yeah, that's also where His Holiness brought Dzogchen to the West. It's the first time it was openly taught in the West, including Europe, apparently. So it was quite an interesting event. Yeah. So,
That's my first teacher, Holiness Pena Rinpoche.
yeah.
He first brought Dzogchen to the temple that I passed out in. I fell asleep in that temple. It was a Longchen book, by the way.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of miraculous things that happened there over the years, but less so after he Lama Rabjam passed away in 2009. So there was a period of understandable quiet, although it seems to be uh, another pattern, another cycle seems to be in the making. We'll see how that all goes. But it was definitely, it was definitely at the nexus of a lot of crossroads for at least, 20 years almost, right? So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, Scott. Well, thank you. I hope you continue to share with us because it's really valuable Dharma knowledge. And of course, if you look at his biography that he did on Longchenpa, he tells about a lot of great connections about how the Dharma got here to the modern world.
Yeah, it's strange how these things, like, how these things just happen, sort of like they manifest themselves. But uh, I guess you can never underestimate enlightened activity, right? Um, it does the darndest things sometimes, right? So, yeah,
Yeah, in unimaginable ways. That's
yeah,
why if we continue to just rest in revelation, give up your piloting position, and let it happen. And wow, does it
yeah.
hold?
Yeah, there's definitely some things I'd like to share with folks. And yeah, definitely for sure.
What do you say, everybody? We'd be happy to, huh? Hear from Scott, Dharma stories. Yeah.
Bedtime stories for Dharma practitioners.
Oh, it would be an honor. Yeah. Please
Oh,
continue to share.
okay.
And for now, we'll make it through this text a little bit more. And um, yeah, this was such a pleasant surprise in this group. I present awareness pretty bare bones because a lot of people really aren't into rituals and deities, and some people aren't into the ancient stuff and what I call timeless stuff. But then all of a sudden, many of you started getting into like malas and sadhanas and the history of it and the lineage of it. So yeah, Scott, there are people here. There are Dharma people here in these gatherings. They like that stuff. Okay, so I'll read a little bit more here. Um, Man, these ending verses, these ending texts are so amazing. These sutras. By the way, in the last session, I was so off this last session. I'm sorry about that. My mind was a little scattered. I'll admit. I had some dramas going on this morning, but I really got some stuff wrong this morning. So one thing I wanted to say is that sutras did not come from sukta, the word Sanskrit word sukta. So sutra, that means the weaving together with the needle. But that's more of like a preservation of an instruction or a teaching. It's a little bit longer than a hymn or a sukta. The sukta are the hymns. They're like songs or poems. And then the sutras, and those are typically, I guess, shorter. And then the sutras are longer. They can, what is it, aphorism? The shorter ones, aphorisms. Am I pronouncing that right? So, slight nuance there for those who are getting technical with the terms, all right? I've never been much for those. Maybe in the next years I'll study language a lot more so we can get into the nitty gritty even more. It is great to study Sanskrit and Tibetan. And then, as you all studied, then of course you can help educate us. All right, so I'll just continue. There is no I consciousness. Whew. Wait a minute. See what I tell you all about that feeling of subjectivity, the witness, the watcher? Listen to this. By the way, somebody is unmuted there. There's some white noise coming in. But it says there is no I consciousness, no basis of ordinary experience, no sensory consciousness. There is no sensation, and so no feeling, no perception, and so no reification of self, no mental states, and so no origination or duration, no consciousness, and so no confusion, no objects of the five senses, and so no reification, no desire, and so no attachment, no benefit or harm, and so no karmic ripening, no belief in identity, and so no reification of self. Yeah, that's basically like the Heart Sutra right there, Prajaparamita, right? This negation that they have in there. Because when you really look at awareness itself, naked awareness, there's none of this stuff. So this is making sense in the ultimate context of bodhicitta, the absolute context. And then it says the nature of everything is evenness, Buddhahood. There is no distortion in enlightened form, speech, or mind. Typically, Richard Barron's being unique with that one. It's body, speech, and mind, but maybe form is more inclusive actually. But anyway, it says there's no distortion in enlightened form, speech, and mind. Nothing to be seen with view, nothing to cultivate in meditation, no involvement in conduct, no levels or paths to be traversed. The all-illuminating sphere states, lucid yet non-conceptual timeless awareness is Dhammakaya. It manifests naturally in and of itself, the universe, as timeless Buddhahood. The two poles of ordinary reaction and enlightened responsiveness are totally pure. The levels of realization and the process of complete liberation already partake of sublime enlightenment, so there's nothing to be traversed. The nature of phenomena is sublime enlightenment. If one believes in progress, one is far from timeless awareness. Now, you see, everyone, while we continually embrace immediacy, we are here, locked into pure presence, completely enlightened. Even those thoughts that you have saying you're not enlightened, those are enlightenment too. And even your thought that you think you have to get rid of your desire before you're enlightened, not that desire is enlightenment too. Just like in a dream, whether you're dreaming of volcanoes or forests, it's all pure cognizance. It never has not been pure cognizance, and there never were any volcanoes or forests. It has always been pure cognizance. Those were just appearances. And so in that way, you have that complete negation there too. One who believes in progress, see, typically in the Dharma, whether so-called Hinduism, even Judeo-Christianity, everywhere, there's always this seeding ourselves with this idea that we're not perfect because we still need to progress. And that's a deep seed. I hope we can continue to uproot these. There is no progress, everybody. Any idea you have of fixing yourself or needing to get somewhere else, that's a dependent imputation. You're imputing that you're not perfect already. And so that's why you're straying from the pure presence of timeless awareness. You're pushing out of Mahamudra. So without being gathered, the two accumulations are nonetheless timelessly perfected. Anybody remember the two accumulations?
Wisdom and merit.
Very nice, Jay. Yep. And so naturally, that's why we do dedications, because the merit of unfolding karma is totally different than good karma. In previous vehicles, you have this idea of good karma, and you're creating good karma, but that has nothing on dissolving karma. Dissolving karma is the ultimate merit for the benefit of all beings and yourself. And it's almost like we've been fooled into this linear time frame. So we think we're progressing forward, but actually, even that is backwards. You are not going forward. You're actually going backwards, if anything. Yes, I know I'm probably messing with your mind here. That's going to mess with you a little bit. But entertain that we're actually going in reverse right now. Even when you throw a rock, you think you're throwing the rock, or maybe you think you found a rock, but actually the rock found you. You see? So it's this whole reversal of direction. Get rid of time is what I'm saying, okay? If you can't imagine the implosion of karma, then at least when you're starting to subscribe to time and you're very temporally oriented, just notice that. See if you can work without staring at your watch all the time or checking the time, and see if you can start to tune into your natural sort of clock. It's perfectly in sync all the time. Right? We have a completely synchronistic clock already there. And these modern calendars with the, what is it called? Intercalendary, where they just add days whenever they want to, take away days, do whatever they want. So, yeah, I'd rather go off the lunar calendar and our natural synchronicity, which is way beyond all these calendars and clocks. So, if one believes in progress, that line right there is so beautiful. So, without being gathered, the two accumulations of wisdom and merit are nonetheless timelessly perfected. Remember, Wisdom is spontaneous. When you get out of the way, when you aren't overlaying your experience with congested thinking, various types of proliferation, then that's wisdom. That's just your mind naturally in a flow. Even if you make a mistake, you can say, "Oh, yeah, I made a mistake." That's wisdom. Being able to correct yourself, being able to listen and learn from others, that's still wisdom. Prioritizing compassion over logic is wisdom. So it says, without being refined, the two obscurations are nonetheless timelessly refined. Anybody know what the two obscurations are? Good, me neither. All right, let's move on. Oh, come on. Who knows the two obscurations?
Self-grasping and self-cherishing.
Sounds right to me. Are you sure?
I think so.
All right. Self-grasping and cherishing. All right, you say so. That sounds about right to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, so everything is of one basic space, the scope of naturally occurring timeless awareness. All phenomena, without exception, are of one taste and total purity, and so non-duality, as the meaning of the definitive conclusion concerning oneness, has been explained in this precious commentary that analyzes the fourth topic. Victorious ones abiding in the 10 directions and 3 times, dakas and dakinis, masters of accomplishment. That box went right in front of where I was reading. Might as well get to it. What did you write there, Yeshi? The two obscurations looks like Gribney. Yeah, that's a weird Wally. The emotional obscuration and the cognitive. That's what I was thinking there, Jay. Yeah. Emotional and cognitive obscurations. But that's okay. You still had a good guess. The reason why that's important though is because cognitive obscurations are the last to go in Dzogchen. All right. So you'll have various beliefs and ideas, very subtle sometimes, that'll be the last to soften out and exhaust into your awareness. Okay, thank you, Yeshi. And then I'll just start this again. It's a beautiful line. Victorious ones abiding in the 10 directions. Anybody know what the 10 directions are? Eight cardinal plus up and down. Leave it to the programmer to make that as pithy as possible. Very good, Doji Lekpa. And what about the 3 times? See, this is Twilight language in here. You all are starting to decode. This is decoding. The 3 times, anybody remember? All right. We got a pff. Alex said pff. Past, present, future. Pff. Okay. So, Dakas Dakinis, masters of accomplishment, masters of awareness, and guardian deities, as well as all beings, without exception, who have the good fortune to receive this sublime teaching, rejoice in this profound and vast approach. Yay, everybody! See, Longchen is saying you who have connected with these teachings. I remember these are ancient, everybody. The Vedas and the Gitas are so old. Like the Ribhu Gita is talking about the same thing. It even mentions the natural state. It mentions Sahaj, Saraha's favorite term for Dzogchen. So this is ancient, timeless stuff, everybody. And that's why Longchenpa is saying, you have good fortune to receive this sublime teaching and rejoice. That means be happy, everybody. Let's continue to celebrate when we want to, when we can, when we feel like it. So anyway, from the precious treasury of the way of abiding, this is the commentary on the 4th Vajra topic, reaching the definitive conclusion concerning the oneness of all phenomena within awareness, timeless awareness, as their source. Okay, we can end the text here. Yeshi, thank you for going through that entire book except for this last chapter. And we've already gone through that, actually, this last chapter. But we're done with the way of abiding for now until probably next year around this time. Thank you for all who have been here through the exploration of that text and the four great Dzogchen Samayas. It's definitely one of my favorites, and it ends with such an intertextual bang, with all these like really hard-hitting scriptures in there. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and thank you for allowing me to host and present it to you and give my explanations, which I know may not always be accurate, but I tried to fact check always everything I'm saying in here. So after I say it. So we are getting the accurate information out there to you. We're going to choose a new text for this session. Yeshi and Dorje and maybe others are going to be going through the way, the basic space of phenomena, which is a complementary treasury to this. All right, but that's when I'm not here. So when I'm here, I'll pick a different text too. Maybe the spacious, the Kamachagmipa text or something like that. Okay, and then Yeshi's saying we recorded 99 videos. This being the 99th. Gotta love that number 9. Gotta love that little beer. Gotta love that little beer. He's a lot. He looks a lot more adorable on camera than he is in person. He gets a little feisty in person. Okay. Thank you again. Any final thoughts before we close out today? Yes, you high five. We made it through the way of abiding. Wow, what a blessing. Just to have the fortune to even have a good connection, have the internet, So many blessings came together just to go through that. All right, well, we'll end here then. I'm very, very happy. I've been elated every day for your practice, and I am rejoicing in your realization. It's very, very wonderful, and I'm learning how to present more skillfully all the time. So thank you also for being my teachers. Well, I am teacher, you are teacher, we are all students and teachers. And so, like the text said, these gatherings are very meritorious, very powerful. If that's the case, there are beings in this very presence that are suffering. I will take a moment of silence to dedicate all the merit to them. Deep bow to you, my fellow gymnosophists. Have a beautiful day.